I just had this opportunity to dive into digital marketing because there was no other way to do it. And like, I remember for I've Had Enough, I made a Zoom profile photo that was the QR code to pre-save my song. And I got genuine pre-saves out of it. Like, I remember I'd go into breakout rooms. I was
like,
so
like in class, people go,
yes.
Oh, that's genius.
No man can demand my body, my spirit, my love, my spirit, my body, my spirit, my love. And for the boys who don't care who they destroy, told us no is not a choice. You cannot silence our voice. No man can demand our bodies, our spirits, our love. Oh, we've had enough.
Let's just start. Why don't you introduce yourself, talk about your age, like what instruments you play, what type of artist you consider yourself, stuff like that, and we'll go from there.
So my name is Melina KB. I am a theatric pop songwriter from Lexington, Massachusetts. I was a real school student for about 8 years, which is crazy to think about. I absolutely love it there. And I'm trying to think if there's anything wild about me. I'm 19 years old.
Where do you live currently?
I am currently studying music in Nashville, Tennessee at Belmont University, which I've been absolutely loving. I love Nashville so much. And so I'm kind of in between Boston, Nashville, back and forth.
Nice. Well, let's go back to early Melina days, early years. What artists and bands influenced you at a young age? Like, is there anybody you remember listening to and being like, I want to be that?
Yes. So I am unashamedly a huge Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift. That woman is an absolute icon. So I listened to her when I was really young, and then my dad was a huge Killers fan. And so I would always listen to the Killers and Paramore.
So how did that all lead to Real School?
For Real School, what kind of inspired me, I remember that my mom was like looking for a place to take music lessons. I knew through one of my family friends, and so I did, since I wanted to do musical theater, I did the Write Your Own Musical summer program. Everything kind of kickstarted, like songwriting and everything kickstarted for my first Real School experience, which like is really cool to think about, just like how you guys have been there for me through the whole thing. But I remember I was doing this musical, we were writing our own musical, and I was like 10 years old. The like start cutoff was 11 years old, and they let me in. And everybody in the production was like a junior or senior in high school, and they all were killing it. Like they were amazing. They were writing awesome songs, and they were all performing solos. And I like, for some reason in my brain, could not wrap my head around the fact that I did not have my own song. I was like, this is outrageous. And so I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna prove that I should have my own song in this musical. So I went home, it must be somewhere in my notebooks. I wrote like a full song on this piece of this piece in my notebook. I like filled up this notebook. It was like sparkly, like covered in like blue glitter, giant M on it. And I came in the next day with this full song that I'd magically written. I'd never written the song before. And I showed it to Josh, and I was like, hi, I wrote this. Can I do it? And he was like, he had me perform for the kids, and like they loved it. And so I ended up doing it in the production.
When we play, she just ignores me.
And then after that, I just like started writing more music. I started taking voice lessons with Josh and guitar. And then I started doing a cappella. I did probably every program there was at Real School. I did a cappella ensembles, like the Real Jams ensembles. I started MCing, which was awesome. I think that helped my confidence so much. And then the advanced program, oh, my heart. I miss advanced. I love the advanced program. My band director was Chris McKenney. And I absolutely loved my band. I miss them so much. I did the a cappella program in middle school with Tim Bongiovanni, who now like has a studio, Northgate Studio, that he works with Real School through. And I did a song with him. Like I had this project in the 8th grade or the 7th grade, and I arranged my whole song a cappella, and then my a cappella group, which a bunch of Real School kids were in, we all recorded Rebound.
'Cause I was on the rebound.
And so that I put out on iTunes, and it was like this really exciting thing for me. And then I didn't work with Tim for a couple years, and then I saw that Leanne Hodgkins, who now goes by Lo, LHO, she had started doing stuff with him, and it was super high quality. And so I DM'd him, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking, crazy thought, but I'm thinking about like maybe working on some music. Would you be interested in like calling sometime and talking about it? And he was like, oh my God, of course. And so me and him started talking about my music and like the direction that I wanted to go in, and we met, and I mean, we just totally like hit it off in terms of like, we just had a great working relationship. And so we have worked together on every single song that I've put out.
Okay, so I was gonna ask that.
Yes.
Has it been Tim every time, right? Yeah.
Yes,
That's
Tim has
awesome.
been on like the producer for all of my songs. I
Yeah.
swear by him, he's amazing.
So let's get into now, the last year of your life, post high school. How has your first year at Belmont been?
I freaking love Belmont University. It was such a good decision. I was super torn in my college process. There are so many incredible popular music programs in the US, internationally. When I was looking at the program and they were talking about the songwriting program, I felt like they were really teaching you so that you can make an actual career out of something that is so frightening. Like, I feel like that is something like all music students are like, hee hee, like going into the future, don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, talking to the people at Belmont, there is a concrete way that you can make a living, make a career. They will give you so many opportunities that if you really apply yourself and you work super hard and you have enough talent, you can make huge opportunities out of anything. I knew that it was gonna be fun, that's what they say college is, but I think even more so, the fact that it was a pandemic, all of us really, everyone in the community really joined together, which I think is something that we haven't been seeing a lot of in the world right now.
Well, you kind of led into my next question, which is about what it was like writing, recording, releasing music in a pandemic. Like, what?
Yes.
Obviously, that was not something you thought was going to happen your first year. So,
Nope.
how did you? I feel like you seem like you're like a problem solver, like a planner.
Yeah.
So I'm like picturing you like as soon as lockdown happened, like, okay, how can I do this? Like making lists, trying to figure out things you can.
In terms of a career, it was hard, but it allowed for me to problem solve in a really extremely creative way. And I think that if I hadn't have been this specific, I think that everything happens for a reason. It was just such a culture of like, the way we made friends, it was all online first because nobody wanted to like really break
Right.
that COVID barrier. We'd like DM and then meet. Everybody, I think, was just so much kinder and nice to one another because we're all going through this together. We're all like freshmen in college. We have no clue what regular college is like. But the main focus has also just been pouring myself into TikTok, putting all of my music ideas on there, and the reaction has been absolutely mind-blowing.
Do you think that's where you get most of your followers from, is TikTok?
Yeah, absolutely. I have seen a huge, significant change since I grew a TikTok following. Do you want like that story?
Yeah, tell us how you, because I feel like TikTok is so new to so many people still that that seems like that's the future, like of like boosting songwriting careers. So I feel like, tell us how you got into that.
It genuinely, so what started me thinking about putting music on TikTok, other than my queen mom, was there's an artist that I look up to a lot. Her name is Abigail Barlow, and she grew all of her initial following through TikTok. She has like, I think if I'm correct, like 2 million followers or something on TikTok. She started putting her original music on there, and it just absolutely took off. Seeing the way that she interacts with people and the way that she's been able to connect with people on such a level, like I'm a fan of hers for life now.
Yeah.
Seeing that and just the way that people came together around her music, and she was successful. I was like really inspired and skyrocketed. I was like, I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna take an opportunity. And then I posted a TikTok this goes into I've Had Enough, which I know we wanted to talk about.
Which is my next point, so go into that.
So the journey, I can just like go from the beginning of that, was I never intended to release I've Had Enough. I'd written like the chorus of it, and I hadn't written anything else of it before. I'd written it like a year before about my toxic ex, as we do. And I remember I had shown it to Tim, and he'd really liked it in the moment, but we just hadn't really discussed it since. I posted a little clip on TikTok early in the fall of just of the chorus, and it got 20K likes. It did really well, which was super exciting, and like I was glad that people connected with it then. But I was going through a really rough patch. I was in a pretty toxic relationship, and throughout that relationship, and throughout my previous relationships, I just had a really hard time standing up for myself. I wound up not really processing my emotions in the moment, and that's something that I'm working on. And it caught up with me. And I didn't allow myself in the moment to truly feel the extent of the emotions. And that's something that I'm like encouraging the people that are my followers, is like, it's not shameful or bad to feel your emotions to the extent that you feel them. And so I truly, like over the pandemic, I was forced to sit there with myself and my emotions and start to process them. But I really I want to be open with my followers about that kind of stuff, because moving forward isn't perfect. And we are allowed to be angry and to get fired up about it and to speak it exactly how it is.
Yeah.
And so I sat there and I was like, I'm gonna say the truth. Like, I'm done with being quiet. I need to be honest with my people. I can't just be happy all the time.
Right.
And so I wrote it.
It's not relatable.
It's not relatable.
Yeah.
And so I wrote it and I started working on it with Tim, and we were sitting there in the studio, and I remember listening to it and I was like, this could be something. So I put this clip on the internet of me, and it just had the lyrics to the song, and I was like, when did it start? I forget what I said in the beginning, but I was like, to my ex, like, enjoy, or something like that, when I was like out next week, and the video got like 150K likes. Wow. So it had like 400K views or something.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, like I had never had one of my songs that I was releasing blow up before.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is incredible. Wow. I started like changing my feed. I like marketing wise studied a lot of what like Taylor Swift does and what like you can see Olivia Rodrigo now, what she's doing, like so inspirational and smart marketing. And I really just like harnessed, it was like a whole red scheme and like red and black and like strong colors and strong imagery and so the fact that it's a photo that I took, that all of this marketing graphics that I've been putting on my Instagram and these TikToks are things that I've created. I mean, not only is the song like about feminism and women supporting women, but like the fact that like me as a woman is doing this. I started just posting more and more about it, and all of a sudden like videos of my song weeks after it was released, weeks before and weeks after were going viral. Like, how are that many people seeing my music? I was getting messages from everybody. The first moment that I knew that my song not necessarily was gonna like pop off, but that my song was going to connect with people in a way that was unlike anything I'd ever written before, was I started getting messages into my DMs about people sharing their very personal stories about super toxic relationships that they were in, abusive relationships that they were in, and how my song had inspired them to take the first step in leaving that person. Or like, they were like, every single time I think about going back to my abusive ex, I stream I've Had Enough and I keep driving.
Wow.
And like I've cried so much about
like
this.
When you know that you've made it, when you start impacting people.
The streams have never mattered to me, but that, oh my God, like there's not even a word to describe. Like every single day I know that there's people out there that are streaming my song and that it's helping someone. And I needed that in my life, and music played such a strong role like that for me in my life. And the Real School community, the amount of times that I would go into my music lesson with Josh and I would just break down crying about something that was going through in my life, and I just had such a strong support system through Real School and through my family and through my friends. The fact that like I'm able to have a comforting role in someone else's life just means the world. Yeah. And it's why like I will swear, like I strongly believe like when someone is an incredible person in your life and like they're amazing, like I will talk my ear off about them 24/7 because I would not be where I am without Real School. I would not be where I am without Josh. 100%. I swear by that. Yeah. Without James, without Tim.
What's next for Melina KB? What's your, you're gonna hit 1 million streams like in the next couple days, and then what?
So nervous and excited, and that's crazy. I can't even believe that. What's coming next? We've been recording a whole bunch of content. The next song that I'm releasing, I don't want to say what it is. I can't almost say
too much.
But it's out of my song. The story that it tells is something that I think is really important, and it's much more upbeat. It's probably the most upbeat song that I've written. That's probably coming like mid-July, late July. We'll see.
Nice. Are you hoping now that things are opening up? Are you going to start performing? Is that the next step too? Yeah.
This is crazy, but I have never performed any of the music that I've released
live
since releasing it.
COVID, you probably haven't. Yeah.
I've done it all in like live streams and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be like house hopping this whole summer and hopefully playing live at venues. Yeah. But I'm definitely gonna be super active on TikTok too, because that's like my concert to the whole world.
Yeah. Kind of become, that's where your fans expect to see you.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming here today. I know you're like only here for a couple more weeks, and this whole thing happened very quickly, so I appreciate you being open to it. And
I love my Real School family.
Yeah.
I wish nothing but the best for Real School, and I'm so grateful for you you guys. I'm so thrilled for what's to come. I cannot believe that all this stuff has happened with my music. Thank you so much for reaching out and having me. Oh my god.